let's frame it this way. Do you think that your game has grown even more since your last MVP season? And do you feel like you belong in those conversations again this year?
Do I feel like I belong in it? I feel like I am the MVP. I mean, it's that simple. Just I don't want to talk. I don't want to be, speaking division of myself. But I'm gonna just leave it at that.
James Harden, probably the greatest offensive player and arguably a top 5 player in the league. And after the many painstaking years of constantly coming second for his coveted MVP award, he finally won in 2018. And throughout those years, James Harden has been one of the league's most emotionless assassins, rarely giving the media any type of soundbite. But when he does, safe to say, it's enough to have the whole league talking. From saying the Warriors weren't even that good in 2015, to saying Giannis barely has any skill, to all but saying the Houston Rockets suck. Whenever he's felt strongly about something, he's never been one to mince words. And after his latest bomb drop of "I am the MVP," it's gotten a lot of analysts to evaluate the MVP standings. But I wasn't just convinced by mere words. So I took a deeper look into it. And let's see, is James Harden really the MVP? What's up guys, back at y'all with another video. And today we'll be talking about James Harden and his standings in the MVP conversation. But before we do that, to all the new people, hi, I'm Afabi. I'm a big basketball fan and I make basketball videos here on YouTube. So if any of those topics interest you, hit that sub button. This is the best way to help the channel grow. I make 2 to 3 videos a week and I'd love to have you guys back. But with that being said, James Harden. Now, if this was any point earlier in the season, it would have been laughable to say anyone else but Joel Embiid or Nikola Jokic deserved MVP, because the way they were playing, it would be hard to put anybody else above them. But with a timely trade to the Brooklyn Nets and an untimely injury to Joel Embiid, the MVP conversation was virtually flipped on its head, as since joining the Brooklyn Nets, James Harden has played 35 games for them, and in those games, the Brooklyn Nets have been a pretty good 26-9. But that's not the impressive part. Because with the amazingly top-heavy roster they sprung together featuring James Harden, Kyrie Irving, and Kevin Durant, a 26-9 record should be the minimum for the caliber of stars they have on that team, even with their defensive lapses and absence of any bench production. But in those 35 games, Kyrie Irving has been virtually absent for 9 of them. And since February 6th, Kevin Durant has only suited up once. And since February 15th, he's been gone, missing a total of 20 games so far, with a hamstring injury. So with James Harden stuck with the vast majority of the offensive load, this is where he started to separate himself. Because in those 20 games that Kevin Durant missed, Kyrie Irving also missed 6 of them. And without KD, you'd expect the Nets to slip a little bit in the NBA standings. But with Kevin Durant gone, James Harden has been able to keep the Nets at an amazing 17-3 record. And without both KD and Kyrie, they've gone 4-2. So, in a roster with very little bench production and a complete top-heavy roster, James Harden by himself has been able to keep them at the number 1 position in the conference, right next to Philadelphia, with a 34-15 record. All while averaging 27.2 points, 9.2 rebounds, 10.7 assists on 46.5% shooting and 35% from 3 and 86% from the free throw line without Kevin Durant. And without both KD and Kyrie, he's averaged 33.5 points, 8.9 rebounds, 11.6 assists on 47.1% shooting, 31% from 3 and 86.1% from the line. Now, if you take his numbers and you put them next to his peers, it's a pretty tight 3-man race to the finish. But James Harden has 2 problems. One, with the return of Joel Embiid, it's very likely he'll be back to his levels play that he was before and finally start separating himself from the rest of the field. And with the return of Kevin Durant, it's no doubt that James Harden's numbers will go down. Not to mention the additions of LaMarcus Aldridge and Blake Griffin. And just like KD of Golden State, voters may think that this team is too good to have an MVP on it, because if you remove one of these top players in the league, this team's record may not suffer as much as any other team, especially if you remove Joel Embiid from the Sixers or Nikola Jokic from the Nuggets. And while I hate this argument, it would not be a rob if Joel Embiid won this award, because even with missing extended time, the numbers he's been putting up has been absolutely ridiculous. And Jokic, while also playing out of his mind, I think a majority of fans can agree that with the Nuggets being outside of the top 4 seed in the West, it's hard to make a case against the 1 and 2 seeds of the East. So in my opinion, is he MVP? It's too close to call. With how well Joel Embiid has been playing, it's going to be very hard to move him from the number 1 spot, especially since he's returning and will probably go back to his previous level of play, as I said before. And Brooklyn has now gotten even more offensive weapons, which may cause James Harden's numbers to take some kind of a dip, especially with both Brooklyn and Philadelphia having 2 of the easiest schedules in the second half of the season. So, if I was forced to pick an MVP right now, it would be Joel Embiid. But right now, I'm going to stick with it's too close to call. But James Harden's been having an amazing season, and even without the MVP awards, the Nets' true goal is an NBA championship. And while the Sixers may be one of the top teams in the standings right now, I don't know why, but I don't feel like they can match up with some of the heavyweights in the East in a full 7-game series. But who am I? That's just my opinion. But if you agree, let me know down in the comments below if James Harden's the MVP or if Joel Embiid's the MVP. If you don't, in a respectful way, let me know that too. But with that being said, all my links are in the description. My Twitch to my Twitter. Me and my friends stream on Twitch every other day. My Twitter is where you can stay up to date on most things on this channel. So if you want to go follow that, do that as well. So this has been FLB. That's my time. And I'm out.